Good morning, family, and welcome to Friday, May the 1st. Doesn't that just make your heart feel better just saying that word, May? It felt like April lasted about a year and a half. But good news, here we are on May the 1st. And we have even better news as the state of Texas is opening up a little bit. We get to have a little bit of freedom today. And hopefully that will progress and we can get this thing under wraps and we can move forward fully in freedom. But I want to leave you with a word from this past season that you're probably going to be angry about, bitter about, nervous about. As soon as I say it, you're not going to be fond of it, but it's something for me that I want to hold on to in this new season, and it's this phrase: shelter in place. You feel that anger? You feel the bitterness rising up a little bit? But I spent all week this week in Psalm 34, and I found there were one phrase that was repeated twice that just gripped me, and I spent the rest of the week just researching that phrase, praying through it, and applying it to my own life. But listen to what Psalm 34, verse 8 and verse 22 says. Verse 8 says, "Blessed are those who find refuge in Him." Verse 22 says, "No one who finds refuge in God will be condemned." I love how the Message Remix puts verse 22 because he says, "God pays for each slave's freedom. No one who finds refuge in Him loses out." Shelter in place. What Psalm 34 tells us there is that we always have a shelter in place. Shelter from what? Psalm 34 tells us, are you brokenhearted? You have a shelter in place. Are you crushed in spirit? You have a shelter in place. It's not a physical shelter, but it is a shelter that will rescue you from every situation in life, and His name is Jesus. In the Bible, in Psalm 34 tells us that if we find refuge in Him, we'll be happy and we won't be condemned. What a beautiful invitation as we step out of our physical shelter in place on May 1st, 2020. What a beautiful promise to know that even when we get out into this new world, we still have a shelter in place that we can run to. Because what's true about the new world was most likely true about the old world. You will find a moment, maybe today, maybe a week from today, maybe a year from today, where you find yourself brokenhearted. You will experience a moment where you find yourself crushed in spirit. You will find yourself angry. You'll find yourself bitter. You'll find yourself confused. You'll find yourself isolated. But the beauty of Psalm 34 is this: in all of those situations, we always have a shelter in place that's available to us, and His name is Jesus. And He'll give us a place of safety. He'll be a refuge of peace. He'll be a refuge where we can dump all of our complaints, all of our feelings, all of our brokenness. And the Bible just says simply this, that He will be close to us in those moments as our shelter in place. Now, Paul says to the Galatians, he says, it is for freedom that you have been set free. So do not use your freedom as an opportunity to go back to your old way of life. And that's a challenge to me, and that's a challenge to you. You've been given freedom today a little bit. Let's practice business differently. Let's practice hospitality differently. Let's practice appreciation and love towards others differently. Let's embrace people deeper. Let's love people deeper. Let's speak respectfully to people. Let's have a new opportunity and let's make the most of it. But let's find ultimately our refuge and our shelter in place in Jesus Christ Himself, because that's what's on the table. Timothy Keller, the author and pastor, says this, that real truth will always move you from something that you understand to something that you stand under. Again, real truth will always move you from something that you understand to something that you stand under. No matter how much freedom we're given in these next few months, know that we will always have a shelter in place available. We'll always have a refuge. The question for you is, will you stand under that refuge and allow Him to be close to you and allow Him to heal you and allow Him to guide you? That shelter in place, that refuge in the middle of your storm, His name is Jesus. And He has too much in store for you to live this new life in the same bondage. So today, may you and I find our shelter in place and our refuge in the storm under the name of Jesus. May we move from understanding that to standing under and resting in it.